Thunderf00t has responded to my challenge to formally debate him. But in so doing, he's set up a kind of a straw man, if you will. What he has said is that if I will go onto one of his atheist talk shows and demonstrate something that I said in a video previously, then he will formally debate me. Now, this is a game he's playing, of course. He wants me to enter into a debate, which he thinks I cannot win, in order to that he will debate me. See, if I will debate him first on this one thing, then he will debate me. Let me give you a little background information about what's going on, and then in this video, I'm going to show you something really funny. A piece of his video, for example. I explained in a video earlier how the earth had water inside it once, and God split the earth open at the mid-oceanic ridges, and this, because of the extreme pressure of the crust of the earth bearing down upon this water, when the earth split open, the water ejected at supersonic velocity, enough velocity that it would escape the earth, as a matter of fact, and now that's why we have comets, and that's why there is ice meteors that have pelted the moon. The atheist camp is desperately trying to refute this. This is a part of Walt Brown's hydroplate theory, which geology demonstrates to us is the truth in science. However, the atheists must deny the flood of Noah because they have to cling to their materialist worldview, and therefore they have to deny science and deny, the flood of Noah can't be true because then evolution wouldn't be true, and that means we were designed and created, and therefore there's God. No, it can't be God. See. So I demonstrated how atheists, actually, and evolutionists actually attack science. They deny science and then turn around and attack science in order to try to deny creation and deny the flood of Noah. And they make fools of themselves when they do this. Now, I'm going to show you a piece of Thunderf00t's recent video, and I'm going to demonstrate for you why he's wrong and therefore he owes me a debate. But you see what he's doing is he's trying to set up a prerequisite for formally debating me. He wants me to join a chat with a bunch of atheists where they can gang up on me in a group, right? And I won't get a word in edgewise, right? And all they'll do is blather off that I'm an idiot and I don't understand science, and I won't get the chance to hardly speak at all. So my point will be muffled and covered over by all the atheists that are attacking everything I say, see? That's the kind of game he wants to set up. And then he thinks he can claim victory and say, oh, Nephilim Free didn't prove his point, so I'm not going to debate him. You see, I'm not going to fall for that game. Thunderf00t, just debate me. Don't play childish games. Just debate me. Anyway, here's what Thunderf00t said in his video, and then I'm going to prove to you that he's wrong without going into his little trap that he's setting up for me to get bombarded by atheists in a chat somewhere as some kind of a supposed debate prerequisite for debating him.
Well, sure, Nav, I'll be happy to debate you, under any conditions, with the sole provision that you can demonstrate the validity of this statement.
Now consider a larger nozzle and a smaller nozzle. Let's say the pressure between these two on the left and right is the same. On the left we have a larger nozzle. The water will eject at a lower velocity.
That is, in an ideal or frictionless system. And when I say demonstrate, I mean without violating things like conservation of energy. Look, I know, let's make this entertaining, Nav. You show up on the Magic Sandwich Show this Sunday at 3 p.m. and merely demonstrate this single point, which you have repeatedly made, and I'll be happy to debate with you.
So you see, what Thunderf00t and other atheists on YouTube, because of my video, are trying to refute is that nozzle size or aperture size affects the velocity of a fluid or gas that passes through it, which is completely ridiculous. It's an attack of science. It's anti-science. For example, if you have an opening this large, and you have a fluid passing through it with X amount of pressure behind it, it will pass through with X velocity, right? But if you have that same fluid with that same pressure passing through a nozzle size or aperture of that size, the velocity of the fluid passing through it will be increased because the nozzle size is smaller. Now, one of the arguments that some of these people are levying against this is that when you decrease the aperture size, you increase the pressure of the fluid behind the aperture. And it's actually a change in pressure that causes it to go through at a faster velocity. Well, when they make that argument, what they're doing is shooting themselves in the foot, because they're already acknowledging that the smaller aperture size has an effect on velocity. You see, it really is irrelevant in a way to my argument whether or not the smaller aperture size or larger aperture size causes a change in the pressure of the fluid behind the aperture. And you see, the point I made was a smaller aperture, well, causes an increase in velocity, whereas a larger one will not. You see, that is my point. The smaller the aperture, the greater the velocity, you see, regardless of whether the pressure increases behind the aperture or not. The point is, it is because of the aperture size that we see a change in pressure, and that is what is creating the increase in acceleration. Let's go to a website sponsored by phys.org.com. Their page about Bernoulli's principle states, "This is an important principle involving the movement of a fluid through a pressure difference. Suppose a fluid is moving in a horizontal direction and encounters a pressure difference. This pressure difference will result in a net force, which by Newton's second law will cause an acceleration of the fluid." Now, let's go down here and take a look at what they're talking about. They're talking about an increase in velocity through a nozzle, a spray atomizer. The pressure difference between the outside and inside causes a net force. Well, they're talking about something else there. Let's get back down to it. They're talking about a perfume atomizer. They say squeezing the bulb over the fluid creates a low pressure area due to the higher speed of the air, which subsequently draws the fluid up, and you see the liquid is accelerated because of the nozzle size. Their page about Bernoulli's principle states, "This is an important principle involving the movement of a fluid through a pressure difference. Suppose a fluid is moving in a horizontal direction and encounters a pressure difference. This pressure difference will result in a net force, which by Newton's second law will cause an acceleration of the fluid." Now, let's go down here and take a look at what they're talking about. They're talking about an increase in velocity through a nozzle, a spray atomizer. The pressure difference between the outside and inside causes a net force. Well, they're talking about something else there. Let's get back down to it. They're talking about a perfume atomizer. They say squeezing the bulb over the fluid creates a low pressure area due to the higher speed of the air, which subsequently draws the fluid up, and you see the liquid is accelerated because of the nozzle size, resulting from a change in pressure, caused by a change in pressure. Furthermore, they state, the same principle applies to aerodynamics and lift. Now we're going to another website. This is a website sponsored by Science Clarified, and they discuss Bernoulli's concept, how it works. And we're about to give Thunderf00t something to stutter about. Here we go. One way to illustrate this is to observe the behavior of a river. In a wide, unconstricted region, it flows slowly. But if its flow is narrowed by a canyon walls, for instance, then it speeds up dramatically. There you go, pal. You owe me a debate. But I'm not through. Here we go. Hence Bernoulli's conclusion. The slower the rate of flow, the higher the pressure, and the faster the rate of flow, the lower the pressure. Pressure is the cause for the acceleration. through a constriction, a fluid or gas accelerates. It moves faster because of nozzle or aperture size caused by a change in pressure. Oh, Thunderfoot, you so owe me a debate. Don't chicken out now. But we're not through. Here we go. This is a JavaScript animation of Bernoulli's principle in action. Notice that the energy levels here are the same. The fluid passing through here has this level of energy. Passing through here, this level of energy, and here, this level of energy. Now, notice that it's moving faster through the constriction, and the energy is the same. Why? Because the slow-moving pressure liquid is moving through a larger area. Thus, the pressure has the energy has not changed. You have greater pressure and a lower velocity. But here, through the constriction, you have lower pressure and greater velocity. The difference is a net energy difference of 0. And the same is true here. Now what happens, however, down here I can control the velocity of this liquid passing through it. You will notice first, as the liquid comes out of the opening here, it is moving faster than it is here. Do you see? There is an increase in velocity. Now I will speed this animation up to illustrate my point. And watch the energy levels change. Now, we're talking about the flood of Noah. Here we have the atmosphere of the earth, let us say. And this is the interior of the earth, and this is the crack in the earth through which the water shot. We have the water accelerating greatly as it passes through the small aperture to enter the atmosphere. And notice that it's moving faster here than it is where it originates. Here. Do you see? Now, if we increase the size of this aperture, the nozzle size, there is no increase in velocity. You see? But when we constrict it, a smaller aperture, what happens? Yes, that's right, folks. We get an increase in velocity. Because of Bernoulli's principle explains it to us. Anyone in their right mind can clearly see that this fluid is accelerating. Thunderfoot, I know you have eyes in your head. Look at what you see on the screen, pal. The fluid here, inside the earth, is passing through a crack in the earth, and it accelerates dramatically as it does so. Now, the earth had interior pressures of perhaps up to, it is estimated, 64,000 pounds per square inch of pressure upon the water inside the earth. But this JavaScript doesn't do justice to the flood of Noah, because this would have to be the atmosphere of the earth and not a constriction, you see. But as the liquid passes through from this extreme pressure in the earth, 64,000 pounds per square inch, to the atmosphere, which is dramatically lower in pressure, we would see this water accelerating dramatically through this fissure in the earth. Thunderfoot, you owe me a debate. You know, Thunderfoot, you can demonstrate this to yourself without doing anything more than putting your thumb over the opening of a garden hose. It's common sense as well as science. You owe me a debate. I've just demonstrated to you with Bernoulli's principle that a constriction causes a fluid to accelerate because of a change in pressure. Okay? The water inside the earth wasn't moving as fast as it was when it got to that opening, you know, the crack in the earth. That's what caused it to, it accelerated out because the constriction, you know. So, don't chicken out of our debate now. You know, Thunderfoot, at least on Exodus 2 accepted my challenge to debate, then chickened out. Here you're trying to set up a prerequisite, a debate to debate. I'm not going to fall for your game. I've just proven what you asked me to, so when's our debate? I'm going to extend the challenge. You got till the 5th to make a video, or you're just another Darn Exodus 2. You're a big evolutionist mouth, and you're a chicken.